value when G is 3 and F is 2? Well, there's no real quick, easy way to do this. I just know that I'm putting this on top of this. So I want 2 times 3 over 2 squared plus 2 plus 2.
Oh my gosh.
I can check your ACT score. What is it?
I made a 20 in math. That's all that matters.
What'd you make anywhere else?
How much did it come up?
My writing's unavailable yet.
What'd you make overall?
You're not saying.
Is it in the teens?
Yeah.
16.
Because I did awful in reading.
Maybe 16.
English. No.
What'd you make
I made it 18.
I'm getting my longest for my login, so I just can't remember it.
Wow, Jay.
I
I never
Look, it's not that bad. Just remember, plug those numbers in for H and with the respective ones. This is going to be 6 over 4 plus 2 is 6 plus 1 is 8.
I did this.
16.
And then on the top, I got 5. Because I added them.
So which one is this? 3/4?
G.
I still wrote it. So why can't we take the ACT here?
We are in April.
You will in April.
No, like.
Oh.
Why don't we give it here? I wish we would.
Because look, I would make so much better, I think, because this is my elephant.
Yeah.
I don't know
You know,
how
like
they.
Russell gives it every single time they give the ACT.
Yeah, I don't know how they do that. I don't know how they pick.
We have to have somebody who get, well, we didn't weird. I don't think we have enough people who can give it probably.
Can you give the ACT?
I don't know. I've never looked into that.
Look, I can't stay awake. Not because I'm tired, because I'm sick.
Don't tell that when you go get your paper.
They're about to call me. So they should. I hope they call me at the end of the class.
How do I make a
All right, here we go.
17 in English?
You know, 16 in English.
17.
Still, you better 17 in English.
And reading. But I made.
All right. This study guide, we're going to go through as much as we can.
19 in
Can we start
math.
with that?
You want to start on the back?
Yes. Do back front.
I'm fine with that.
Okay. I'm gonna take the
Because
rest.
I feel like I helped most of y'all with this yesterday
Yeah.
individually.
Yeah, you can do it here and the back.
All right, the back. Well, let me start at 10. Let me start here. All right, so normally, the way I taught it, remember, was if it's even, then f of x equals, no, f of negative x equals f of x, and odd is f of negative x equals negative f of x. Don't write this down.
I always write it down.
Well, good. But, as I was redoing this, we were redoing the study guide to make sure I did it right the first time. There might be an easier way to do this. So, instead of plugging negative x in, I want you to plug negative 1 in. So f of negative 1. Well, that'll be negative 1, absolute value of negative 1 minus 5. What's this going to be?
It's going to be negative
1 minus 5, which is what?
negative 4.
Negative 4. Then plug in positive 1. Well, I get absolute value of 1 minus 5. So that's again 1 minus 5, which is negative 4. What happened to these two numbers that you got?
It's the same.
They're the same. If they're the same, it's even. If they come out, so now instead of you trying to plug in negative x and worry about, well, if I cube a negative number, all that stuff, just simplify it. If these two numbers are the same, it's even. If they're opposite, so if this came out to be negative 4 and that came out to be positive 4, or vice versa, it's odd. if they come out to be random numbers that are not the same, it's neither.
Wait, what, if it's odd?
If like this is a positive 4 and that's a negative 4.
Okay.
So if one's positive of the number and the other's a negative of the number, then they're odd.
Makes sense.
Is that a little easier?
So just plug one in for X.
Plug negative 1 in for X, plug positive 1 in for X, and then it's based on the numbers that you get. If they are exactly the same, sign and everything, it's even.
And that could work for
If
this.
you get the same number, but one's positive, one's negative, bless you, it's odd. And then if you get two separate numbers, it's neither. It'll work for the next one too.
So we don't have to do that.
So yeah, you don't have to, you can do that, but I feel like this way is a little easier. You may do a little more work on the front end, but it might be a little easier. So then if we do this on 11, or B,
I need the following students to come to the nurse's office, please. A.B. Lowe, Jessica Adams, Foster Taylor, Michael Lawley, Deanna Lawley, Javier Marquez, Kate Jones, Shelby Shipman, Kylie Dye, Jonathan Arredondo. Come to the nurse's office, and anyone else that has a flu shot, bring it up at this time.
Why am I first?
They said come on, man.
No, they didn't.
They
They
said
said
you
Yeah.
may have to get the flu shot.
they said you were outside the flu shot for.
turn
Listen.
in your form.
I'm just going up there.
Yeah,
There you go. By the time Mom started driving, I said, and all of this.
What, what?
He's trying to get his HP login.
Oh, that's.
David,
that's
Can you not figure it out?
Huh?
Can you not figure it out?
What, the
You're-
stuff?
Yeah.
Oh, I think I knew multi-JB.
You know they have this fancy thing called forgot username and forgot
Is it hooked
password
up to your
now?
mom's
It's my
email?
mom's email.
I know
Why
my mom's
would-
email
why-
password
why-
too, I can get
That's
it.
my mom.
I know my mom's password to everything.
Why don't you use your own email? You're a big boy now.
I don't know how to set this stuff up.
JB, it's easy.
You're a big.
I had to set it.
All right. If I plug in h of -1, that'd be 4 times -1 cubed plus 2 times -1 squared minus 1.
Okay, I like this one a whole lot better.
I know, I do too. So 4 times, so -1 cubed is 4 times -1. Remember, anytime you cube a negative number, or cube a number in general, this sign stays.
So if it's positive, it's gonna stay.
It'll stay positive, correct. Then 2 times +1 minus 1. Whenever you square it, it doesn't matter what it is, it's always going to be positive. So then we get 4, that's -4 plus 2 minus 1.
It's fine. No.
Negative.
Yeah, it's a negative.
Alright, then. I'm going to plug in I'm going to plug in +1. So 4 times 1 cubed plus 2 times 1 squared minus 1. So let's see, that's 4 times 1 plus 2 times 1 minus 1. Let's see. I don't know. Oh yeah, I did that. 4 plus 2 minus 1 is 5. Those two are not the same number, so it's neither. Whoa, too many people talking. What?
Where does this word come from?
It's really the same thinking as what I wrote up here. Except now it's just -1 and +1. So instead of it being -x and +x, you have an actual number, which is still the same coefficient, but it's -x, right? So we're not changing anything, we're just plugging it in. Really, you could do it with any number, and it would work, but one's the easiest one to do. Alright, that better?
Yes.
Good.
And then watch me put it in tomorrow when I do it.
Yeah, don't forget that. Don't forget that, please. Alright. On to the back. So we're not doing the calculator stuff. You forgot how to actually graph them?
They can go over the long insurance, they can't do B today.
Oh, that's why
I'm
they
so happy. So glad
Oh, they're going, are you getting pictures to it?
No, I had to get it before.
So you just have to go to the doctor then? Why are you so scared of
I
me?
hate them. I have
They
to
just
get
get shots in
Yeah,
general.
I have to get a shot every week and I still hate them.
I had allergy shots, that's good, I'm pretty used to them now. I hated them when I was starting.
How would you want some shots? Like when I got them, you can't even feel it.
I can't at first.
I think it's just
I was
because
just trying to get
you
it,
used
like,
to them, you don't even
stings.
feel it.
It's more the thought of it than it is.
Yeah.
Alright, so graphing.
Where'd you get that?
Graphing. Remember, I want to start off by graphing the entire function. So if I have the absolute value of x, or, let's try it this way, see if this helps you. Look at your 2 points, or it depends on what you got. Look at your, interval is the correct word, wow. Look at your interval. I know that I want absolute value of x for this. Well, what happens if I plug in my boundary points? So if I plug in -2 into the absolute value of x, what do I get? I get +2. So that's the point, -2, 2. Well, if I go -2, 2, that's where I'm going to put a dot. Is that dot going to be open or closed? Closed. Remember, it's closed if it has the bar underneath it. So I'm going to fill this dot in. But what about 0? If I plug 0 into the absolute value of x, I get 0. So it's going to be at the 0, 0. Is this going to tell me that it's open or closed? Open. Now, the absolute value function. It looks, I'm going to do this because that's where, like that, right? So I would make a straight line between these 2 points because that's the only thing that I want, right? Yes, no, no. That's the only, I only want between those 2 points. So if I put this in here and this in here, then I only want the graph between the 2 points that I just put down. So I wouldn't draw the rest of this. So I wouldn't draw the rest of it. Does that make sense? Now for this one, if I plug 0 into 1, well, does that really change this? There's no variable here. So for this entire interval, it's going to be 1. So at 0, y is 1. At 1, y is 1. So here,
So wait, is that saying when x is 0,
correct. So when x equals 0,
y?
y is 1. So when x is 0, am I going to have an open or closed dot? Closed. So when x equals 0, I'm going to have a closed dot at 1. When x equals 1, I'm going to have what kind of dot? Open at 1. And then x squared. At 1, if I plug 1 into x squared, what do I get? 1. Am I going to have an open or closed dot? Closed. So at 1, 1, I'm going to have a closed dot. So in this case, just fill in that open circle that we just drew. Now, am I going to the right or the left of 1? Right. I'm going this way. So I'm just going to plug in 2, just to give me another point to work with. All right. If I plug in 2, what do I get? 4. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's just to give me a reference point. You don't necessarily have to do this. If you know that x squared looks like that, you don't necessarily have to do that reference point. You can just draw this curving going up. Did Do y'all like that way better, or the one where you just graph the whole thing and erase? That way? I'm trying to think of a different way to do that, because I know this is tricky.
Do you have an easy one like this one?
I have one, so might actually been nice and just give you two things.
I think it was three.
Daisy wants three?
No. Daisy wants.
Alright, y'all good with this?
Yes, Daisy
Now,
wants.
that, and then you go home and look at it.
Determine the
What?
range.
Oh, yes, it is. Graph, alright. We drafted the range now. Remember, the range is all the y values. Y values. So, what is the smallest y value that my x goes to?
Zero.
Or sorry, that my graph goes to? 0. At that point, do I have an open or closer? Open. So I'm going to have 0 with a parenthesis. Now, if I go up, if I'm just focusing on what happens if I go straight up, not worried about x yet, not worried about anything else. If I go straight up, I'm covered. I've got every y value up to 2, right? But then this one, it jumps this gap. Does it matter that this gap is jumped?
Because
All right.
because one is still included, like everything.
All right. This covers you from 0 to 2. This covers us from here to infinity, right?
So it gets all.
So it gets all of it. This gap doesn't do anything in this instance because they overlap. So if they overlap, it's going to be whatever it is to infinity. It doesn't matter if there's a jump in the graph. If it's not connected.
What if it's a jump in the graph? How do you?
So if it was like, all right, y'all good with this? So I'm going to erase it and
What is this?
I'm about to check it out. Go give it a shot.
all right. So if there's a jump in the graph, so if it did something like this, so if it said I want something like that. All right, I want this. So this doesn't change. This doesn't change. This is greater than 2. I would do whatever this piece is. So I would say that would be 0, 2. And then I would create another one and say, what is 4 to infinity. I would set those 2 separate pieces, so I just do them as 2 separate pieces. But that is not this thing.
I just wanted to go through it from Bobby's school.
What?
Ronnie doesn't change your quality score, or is it?
I don't think so.
It's just a whole opposite.
Alright, let's continue. Alright, 15. Oh, 14. Alright,
I like number 14.
good. I'm glad you like 14. Whoa,
Oh, you have all kinds of colors on it.
they added new colors to this thing.
Is that light blue? Yeah, I was about to say that.
The light purple?
Yeah.
This light purple?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know I updated this, but apparently I did. Alright, so, no, 14. I was going to start to do 15, but I forgot about 14. Alright, this is a lot easier than the thing we just did.
Yeah.
You still have piecewise function, you still have your intervals, but now, I'm looking to see what it says. I want f of -2. Well, where does -2 fit into here? Is -2, so if I plug -2 in, is -2 less than or equal to -2 is less than 0? Yes, if that's true, I plug -2 in here.
That's the same one.
So because it's true, I would take
If I want to go whole piece, I gotta make
-2 squared plus 2. So negative 2 squared is 4. So I would get 6.
How do you do the last one? I did that. I know I did, I got that.
But then I didn't think it was right, because you couldn't really take that in principle, but you don't have to, do you?
No. You don't plug no. Once you get this, don't plug it back in there.
Of course.
This is just for where you're starting out. Remember, this is x. What's this? Don't plug it in for x.
Well, I was just confused.
All right. F of 1/2. Well, is 1/2
No.
greater than negative 2 and less than 0?
No.
No. Is 0 less than or equal to 1/2? Yes. Is 1/2 less than or equal to 1? Yes. So I'm plugging it in here. So 2 times 1/2 minus 4. Well, what's 2 times 1/2? 1 minus 4.
Get here when you can.
I will, don't worry.
Okay, but what about,
What you got, Paul?
what if it's neither?
What is it, neither?
What if it fits?
What doesn't fit neither? All right, good question. If it does not, so if it said f of 7. F of 7 doesn't fit into this one. It's not greater than negative 2 or less than 0. It's not greater than 0 or less than 1. You would put no solution. Because for this, you only have a range here. It's not inside here, so it doesn't work. All right.
And it's always 114.
Oh, that's it.
See, I
That's
get,
all we do for
I
14.
just don't do the last
The
one.
graphing one? Is this one maybe?
Yes.
I'll
Because
go.
I didn't know, because see, like on 14, it has numbers to plug in, and I didn't know.
Yeah, I'll work this. All right. Don't worry about 15. I was going to show it to you today. Don't even worry about it.
What about
We need to focus on solution.
so?
All right. 16. We want the equation in standard form for a horizontal line through negative 6, 21. Horizontal line is this way or this way?
Right.
It's a flat one, for lack of a better term. Which axis does that cut through? The y. Is it ever going to touch the x?
No.
So that means I'm going to have y equals what?
How?
You said straight across.
Remember, you have two special cases where you don't have to do much work. If you get a horizontal line,
Oh, so that
it's
you-
always going to be y equals this. If you get a vertical line, now if you get a vertical line, it's always going to be x equals whatever this first number is. It does not matter if it's standard form or slope-intercept form. You will still be y equals this, x equals that. There's only one variable, so it doesn't matter. The forms are the same for that.
I'm trying to trick us, you put a lot of room in that one, and then on the, then they put this.
I didn't try to trick you at all.
I
Like I told you right there. Horizontal line.
Trick me. I just had this game of trick.
All right. 17. All right, write an equation in standard form for a line parallel to this. All right. How do I find the slope of this? Because that's what I got to do, right? I got to find this slope. Put it in slope intercept. Solve for y. So I'm going to move the 3 over. And get negative 5y equals negative 3x minus 20. Then what? Divide by negative 5, so I get y equals, oh, that's not going to work. So it'll be y equals 3/5 x minus 20. By minus 20 over plus 4.
We do the 3 kids.
Alright. I just divide everything by 5, negative 5.
Oh.
Alright, so I'll do negative 3 divided by negative 5, which is positive 3/5. Negative 20 divided by negative 5, which is positive 4.
Okay. And then that's how you do?
No. Now, look. This gives us the slope of this line. How does that help us? Well, it says we want a line parallel to the equation that we just put in slope-intercept form. So it's the exact same slope. So I now have my slope, 3/5, my point, 5, 11. Put them here. And I saw, what did it say? In standard form. So I'm going to have y minus 11 equals 3/5 x minus 5.
Coach Cruz, but if it's standard form, would you not use AX plus BX equals C?
That's where you want to end up. You always start here, and you want to end up in one of these two. So then what am I going to do?
Get rid of your fresh.
I'm going to multiply both sides by 5. Okay, that's kind of like a cardinal color. How about that? So this will cancel with this, even though I normally don't put it over there. They cancel. And I end up with 5y minus 11 equals 3x minus 15. Not at all. I'm forgetting to multiply stuff already. Alright. Then, I want to put it in standard form. So I want to get x and y on the same side. It doesn't matter what you do. You can move the 5 over, you can move this over here, get the x and y on that side, or you can move everything on one side. I'm going to move the negative 3 over to the left by subtracting, so that's where I got the negative 3 from. Add 55 over here. So that'd be negative 3x plus 5y equals, if I add that I get 40. Yes.
And you're done.
What?
And you're done.
Mm-hmm. Standard form.
Use what's already.
This can't be negative. So I multiply by a negative, or I just change the sign. So 3x minus 5y equals negative 40.
Okay, so number 18, is that when you do the,
April.
What I said,
number 18?
people are being rude and talking about the ACT and middle of math class.
Sorry. My 30.
Do you have a question?
What?
My 30.
So number 18 is that?
Number 18. Guys, look, number 18. Oh, wait. Yes. Number 18.
So yes or no?
18, I want slope intercept form, so I want to end up in this form. But I'm given 2 points. So, I've got to find the slope, which is really that formula, or, need my pen again. That.
That's the same thing, is that right?
Correct. Hopefully, does that confuse you at all? Okay. Just want to make sure y'all see it's the same thing.
So would it just be one?
Would it just be 1?
Yeah, because if you did 9 minus 3 and 4 minus 2, it's equal.
So it would be 1.
So that's.
So our slope's 1.
Yes.
So m equals 1. Then I take one of these points, it does not matter which one. Hey, go back. Take one of these points, doesn't matter. Take one of them and that, and do what we just did by plugging it in here. But this time I'm solving for y. So let's do, I'm going to do 4, 9. Y minus 9 equals 1 times x minus 4. Solving for y. I'm going to distribute the 1, which in all reality doesn't do much. So y minus 9 is x minus 4. Y by itself, this is the nice one, you only have to do one more thing. What is that? Add 9. So y equals x plus 5.
I just forgot how to do it. I forgot. I knew how to get this one.
Search Google, still pick by the competition.
Did I get this?
COMPEITION.
Pretty funny.
Alright, let's see, what's next? We've got average rate of change. Alright, so we've got when you're given a graph, there are 2 ways to do it when you're given a graph. The first way, and we talked about, I think we kind of talked about both ways. The first way to do it is actually find out, so this is x1, this is x2. You actually find out what the y's are. You do it just like this. Alright? You find your y values, plug them in, simplify. Or, when we're talking about slope, what's another way to think about slope if you're graphing? Rise over run. I take how much I go up or down with how much I go right. You can do that with this. So if I want, it says I want the rate of change from 0 to 2. So I want the rate of change from this point to this, yes, this point.
This never got to me. Yes.
Yes. I can do this 2 ways. This is the point 0, 0. So I could do y2 minus y1, so 3 minus 0, over x2 minus x1. I can do this. I get 3 over 2. Right? That's just using the formula. I got my 2 y values, got my 2 x values. I subtract and divide. Or, if we want to do rise over run, I don't care about anything. I'm just saying this is my left point, this is my right point. Well, how do I go from this to that? I go 1, 2, 3 up, so that's 3 on the top. 1, 2, 2 on the bottom.
And that's your answer for.
It's 19.
I got 3.
I got negative
Me
3.
too.
I got
Because we
We
used the
did
point
use 0, negative
3.
Well,
When x is 0,
First of all-
0 right there.
yes, we use the point 0, negative 3. Second of all, it won't be negative though.
It's probably.
it's
Oh,
positive.
Wow. So you could help me out a little bit. And,
Well, we thought we did it
tell me that
wrong.
first.
We all
That's wrong.
Yes, I just did that terribly wrong. I apologize.
Oh my goodness. I'm struggling in here over here.
I know, I'm probably making it wrong. Alright, now look, on the negative thing, it's the same thing, look, on the negative aspect, you can check yourself. If it's increasing, it's going to be a positive number. If it's decreasing, it's going to be a negative number. Now, same thing, I'm going to do the rise over run thing. So look, I go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I go up 6. That's my numerator. I go right 2. That's my denominator.
So you're gonna get 39.
When you have a graph, I recommend this is the route you go.
Yeah, this is.
There's a little A rock thing.
When you don't have a graph, you got to do this. You just find the slope between 2 points. So the next one, what's the next one say? The next one says I want the average rate of change from 1 to 4.
I think I got this wrong.
So I want the average rate of change from 1
I did my division, not that.
to 4.
I did like 30 divided by 0. It's 0.
We want, remember, it's the slope. So I want the slope between these 2 points. Well, what kind of line? That's a special line, isn't it?
Horizontal.
It's horizontal. What is the slope of a horizontal line?
0.
It's the numbers on.
It's 0. You just told me the horizontal line is a slope of 0. So if you don't go anywhere, if you don't go up or down, it's 0. Now remember, even though you did all of this stuff with the graph, we want the average. We're just taking the average between where you start and where you end.
So when it's vertical,
Like straight up and down vertical, it would be undefined. But you will not, if it's talking about this, you won't have it. If you won't have average rate of change like that.
okay.
Alright, here we want to actually find the average rate of change from 1 to 4. So, we're given our x values, we need to find our y values. So, another way you might make this easier. My rate of change from, so this is from x equals 1 to x equals 4. Go ahead and say, well, this is x1. This is x2, all right? Help yourself out. Label them before you start. So now, what do I need to find?
Y.
The y's. So then, I'm going to come down here. I'm going to say y1 equals. And I'm going to plug whatever x value I just made x1 in for x, which was
1.
1. So I get 1 squared. So y1 equals 1. y2, I'm going to plug in 4, so I get 4 squared equals what? 16. Then I'm going to do 16 minus 1 over 4 minus 1. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. 16 minus 1 is 15. 4 minus 1 is 3.
So it's 5.
Correct. We end up with 5. How do we feel about that?
Good.
All right, y'all. Do y'all want to see B, or do you want to flip over to
Flip over.
the front